Hello. Good morning. Or Tibetan word, 这是 Delhi. Indeed, I am very happy, you see, through television, you see some discussions. Okay. The physical level, you see, sometimes you see, long trip, difficult. But then, my mind, not much differences of physical distance. So
Your
now,
Holiness.
Thank you. Now, yes.
We're very delighted to welcome everyone to a very special conversation with His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama. My name is Lise Grande, and I am the president of the United States Institute of Peace. USIP is an independent, nonpartisan national institute. We were founded by the US Congress in 1984 to prevent, mitigate, and help resolve violent conflict abroad. USIP currently has more than 300 peace initiatives in 85 countries around the world. Of the many programs we're proud to support, one of our most important and one of our most impactful is called Generation Change. Each year, the Institute brings together young leaders from conflict-affected communities across the world. We provide mentoring and training on how to reduce prejudice, transform conflict, and build bridges across social divides. This year, USIP is very proud to be supporting 300 Generation Change Fellows from 26 countries across Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. For the past 4 years, our fellows have had the distinct and very great honor to travel to Dharamsala to discuss with His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, all of the big issues related to building and achieving peace. Last year, and now again this year, we're traveling virtually because of COVID. We're grateful that this year's event, like previous years, is being organized in collaboration with Radio Free Asia. Together, we have chosen the theme of gender equality and peace to frame today's reflections. Because of our virtual reality, our discussion is being sequenced over 2 days this year. During today's discussion, 5 of our Generation Change Fellows will engage with Your Holiness, and tomorrow, 5 more of our fellows will have the privilege of doing the same. We hope that everyone who is joining us will follow this discussion on Twitter with the hashtag @DalaiLamaUSIP. Your Holiness, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. As I already mentioned, you see, physical level, you see, long distance, trouble, difficult. But my mind, you see, no problem. So, we have right to use modern technology. Technology, since my childhood, I love technology. even some small damage, technology, some movie project, and also some pocket watch, I can repair. So that's my hobby. So I love modern technology. Now it is our right and also useful to utilize modern technology. And we can, any sort of, ideas, questions we can discuss. So now, today,
compassion, education, and equality.
Is the subject compassion, education, and equality. Now, world changing. It is quite encouraging. Look back, last few centuries, too much violence, including First World War, Second World War. But when we look that situation, now today, I think voice of peace much stronger. Not only a few leaderships, but at public level, really now seriously, thinking world peace. And world peace means individual and community should create peaceful community. In order to create peaceful community, community means combination of individual. So ultimately, individual should create peace of mind. Peace of mind, not out of fear, but voluntarily. And as a result of thinking, more wider perspective, like that. So now everybody, as I mentioned earlier, really want world peace. Now today, I think weapon much advanced. So if something happen and utilizes this weapon, the consequences immense. So unlike previous centuries, when we conflict, we use simple weapon, and then sometimes including boxing. Not much serious. Now today, this weapon really immense destructive. So now we really need world peace. But peace, as I mentioned earlier, not through prayer. I'm Buddhist. Peace, for world peace, pray to Buddha. Of course, no harm, but that is not effective. Since, violence start by Buddha, then we have to pray to Buddha. But since violence we human being, we created. So ultimately, the peace depends on ourselves. Now comparatively, now today, I think the peace movement everywhere. And peace, firstly, we have to create peaceful mind. So now, ultimately, inner peace, loving kindness, compassion. You see, mentally, do not want to harm other, even including animal. So that kind of mental attitude, very important. So now, the non-violence, not only according to religion, but use common sense, then non-violence is very important and very relevant to today's world. As I already mentioned, destructive power, weapon, including nuclear weapon, you see, immense. So if you see these weapons use, actually mutual destruction. So now, everybody, we human being, everybody have the right and responsibility to build peaceful world. In order to, to carry that motivation, so inner peace, very important. So now, compassion, sense of caring, sense of concern of others' well-being. With compassionate mind, destructive work, destructive weapon, no relevant. So now time come, we have to educate right from the beginning to our younger generation. I always telling, we human being, social animal. So any social animal, you see, their individual survival depend on the community. So now we also social animal. Individual survive depend on your own community. So compassion, taking care of other, actually best way to fulfill your own, interest. So I think wise selfish is taking care other. You get benefit, maximum benefit. Just think yourself and don't care about other. There's foolish selfish. Now, through education, we should be wise selfish. So, I myself is always talking about loving kindness and religious harmony and the secular ethic, these things. So result, I get the maximum benefit. So compassion is, I think, best way to get oneself happy. and create a lot of friends. I think reality, when I visit, you see, different continent, different country, people show loves me because I always smile. So therefore, you see, loving kindness towards other is the best way to get benefit to oneself. So I think a simple world, best way of selfish practice is show loving kindness to other. Okay. So compassion is a sound looks like taking care of other more. The reality, you see, taking care of other is the best way taking care of yourself. Okay. So foolish selfish, wise selfish. Now we should not follow foolish selfish. We should practice wise selfish. Okay. So now I always feel, since we are social animal, so from childhood, we always, you see, appreciate mother's affection, family affection. So that is the seed. We further also strengthening. So now important is education from childhood. In our class, we should include the child or student also want happy life. So the key factor, not just knowledge, but warm-heartedness. Now that in our modern, also the curriculum, I think should include the warm-heartedness, a part of education. Very important. Okay. So the compassion, education, and then compassion, their equality automatically come. So now today, a lot of world problem is, you see, lack of equality. Although the principle of democracy is equality. So everywhere, people, you see, use the word democracy, democracy. Meantime, in the in the atmosphere of democracy, dictatorship also sometimes happen. Now that is wrong. Everywhere, we really want democracy. So now, in order to develop democracy, compassion is key factor. Okay. Now, qual è stata?
Gender equality.
Motor dice. That's Homer. Now question.
Your Holiness, we want to thank you for showing us the way to be wisely selfish, for reminding us that peace in this world depends on us, for encouraging us to create a peaceful mind by demonstrating every day in every way loving kindness and compassion, and for reminding us of a key truth, an inescapable one, that democracy is wholly dependent upon equality. Thank you. Your Holiness, we have 5 Generation Change Fellows who wish to present part of their life story to you and to ask you a question. I'm very pleased to introduce our first fellow. Mithila Hore is from Bangladesh. Mithila.
Good morning to Your Holiness and everyone present at this event today. My name is Mithila and I'm from Bangladesh. So in 2020, when all the schools were shut down for an indefinite period due to the pandemic, the woman who helped me manage my household decided to take her daughter out of school, but continued her son's education. The son was 11 and the daughter was 7 years old. It is very important to mention here that she is a single parent and obviously the decision maker and the bread earner in the family. The deep-rooted social norm in the form of patriarchy and the daughter aversion, a term coined by academics, perhaps influenced her decision to take her daughter out of school. Your Holiness, my question is, what would you say to this mother to help her understand her role as a mother and a decision maker for ensuring her daughter's education? Thank you very much.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, in order to develop democracy, education, equal, male and female, everybody should have full educated, then we really, create atmosphere equality. So, it is totally wrong distinction, male and female. As a Buddhist monk, Buddha himself, give us monk, nun, equal. So, part of my own little contribution, I introduce a nunnery here. She should start serious debate or education. So, since Buddha gave us equal, even monks, nuns. So now in society, there is no point treat differently male and female. So we should treat equally, 100% equal for male or son and daughter. As I mentioned earlier, democracy, everybody now say democracy. Now democracy means everybody should have not only equal right, but mentally thinking, utilize equal opportunity like that. So education, very important. So the mother, I very much appreciate, pay much attention for her daughter. Wonderful. Now, these things we should not follow the traditional way, but utilize human intelligence. Then, in order to develop peaceful world, I think almost half of the population are female. So, in order to develop peaceful world, the male and the female all have responsibility. So therefore, girl, boy, son should have equal sort of opportunity for education in order to develop peaceful world. Okay. Now, next question.
Your Holiness, thank you for insisting that democracy is not just about the equality of rights, but is essentially about the equality of opportunity, and for showing us very clearly that we can't have peace if there is not equality between the genders. We take that message very deeply with us. Your Holiness, we're very pleased now to present our second fellow. Ashar Omer is from Afghanistan. Ashar, the floor is yours.
Tashidilik, Your Holiness. I'm Ashar, a youth peace builder and women's rights advocate from Afghanistan. I have been working in communities to resolve conflict and promote gender parity in my country. I departed my country just 2 weeks before the collapse to pursue my master's in US and to return home more assertive and knowledgeable to serve my country. But now I am a stateless person in a foreign country, and my family is forced to migrate from their homeland because of the extremist groups overtaken. While hundreds of thousands of women who didn't have a way out are in danger and oppressed under the new extremist regime. However, we have witnessed the bravery of these Afghan women and standing strong for their rights and demanding their rights to be respected and considered by these armed extremist terrorist groups. Your Holiness, my question is, reflecting on Your Holiness' journey, who has experienced both forced immigration and oppression inside your homeland, what's your advice to Afghan women inside the country fighting for their rights, and how can they stay resilient in the face of this constant oppression? Thank you.
Basically, as I mentioned earlier, you see, firm determination, no matter how difficult to achieve. The aim, we should be realistic and moral principle. And when we try to achieve that, because of the political situation, and also sometimes even I think religiously, little sort of discrimination. But these are the old fashion. Now world is changing. So like Afghanistan, for the time being, some difficulties. But eventually, you see, definitely things will change, I feel. So the important is sort of close contact. We should not let them isolate. Particularly like India, you see, very border Afghanistan. So I think India have special, opportunity, and we have to work continuously. At the moment, Afghanistan situation very serious and very sad. Okay. Then, next.
Your Holiness, we're very pleased to present our next fellow to you. Muborak Muqimi is from Tajikistan.
Good morning, Your Holiness. I am Muborak from Tajikistan. After graduating from my high school, I became determined to encourage and motivate young girls in rural Tajikistan to pursue higher education and be financially independent. I also seek to ensure that every girl receive equal opportunities as their male counterparts in society. So I developed a project called Women are the Future Leaders of Our Country. We plan to offer girls and women training in leadership and the preparing of a business plan. We taught them how they could use their skill in business and become financially independent. We organized IT classes and taught them how to sell their products online and through social media. The women and girls started their own small business, but some of them faced problems because their husband or brothers didn't allow them to use social media, didn't trust them, and would not support them. So, Your Holiness, my question is, can you share an example from your experience where you have seen men share power and trust and support women and not feel threatened? What circumstances allow this to happen, and what can we learn from such situation?
I am quite sure among people who totally dedicated for democracy and thinking about society, all these male, I think, really, you see, making effort to bring equality, male and female. So unfortunately, in the past, sometimes including religion, makes some discrimination. Now that I think already changing, time changing. So there are many people who really making effort. Individual name, I can't remember now. Basically, I think genuine leaders or people who really committed democracy, I think everyone really want to promote equal education and equal right. And I always say, mentioning female, male, female, more warm-hearted. So I think some scientists, some occasion, you see, male and female together watching some picture, suffering picture. The female, they even physically, see more sort of, what's the excited. Even physical level, more reaction. So, a female, biologically, more compassionate nature. So now today, world, when we talk peaceful world, now female should take more active role to promote genuine peace. This is my view. I often use it telling. Okay.
Your Holiness, we're very pleased that our next generation fellow is from South Sudan. May we present Nyachangkuoth Rambang Tai.
Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In a place called Pariel in South Sudan, a 17-year-old girl who was still in class 6 was forced to marry a 65-year-old. Our office was called for intervention, and when I went with the team, we found that the poor child was locked in a room. She has been given a rope, a gun, and a knife by her brother who wanted to give her out by force for a bride price. And he had told her that unless she walks to her husband's house, she can go ahead and kill herself with one of the many options she had. My questions to Your Holiness is, in a context like this where gender inequality, or let me say gender-based violence, is so clear, what is the place of forgiveness and healing, and how does forgiveness and healing advance gender equality? Thank you.
As I already mentioned, now these movement, not one particular country, but whole worldwide, we need effort, bring equality, not on basis of color, basis of traditional thinking. Now time come, we should treat equally all people, and particularly, as I mentioned earlier, equal opportunity, male and female. So I think main thing is education. And nowadays, the including television and talk. Mobiles. You see, we have to use this technology and try to reach as much as possible to people. So I think things are changing, much changing. So now we need determination, and sometimes we need a little patience. Eventually, things will definitely change. Now, for example, male and female, then also you see due to color. So now these are now changing. So therefore, we need some patience, and meantime, effort. Okay, that's my feeling. In our own sort of course about Tibet, you see, lot of sort of difficulties, but without losing determination, and without losing compassion, mutual respect, and making continuously effort. Now things are changing. Okay.
Your Holiness, thank you for reminding all of us that change cannot occur without effort every day and in every way. Your Holiness, we have a woman, you met her last year. She was part of this group. Gharsanay comes from Afghanistan, and she would like to address you again this year because what you shared with her last year has changed her life, and she would like to share that with you.
When I had the honor of meeting Your Holiness, the Dalai Lama, I was in Afghanistan at that time, identifying myself as an Afghan and as a Muslim. However, now I'm not anymore an Afghan, but a global citizen living in the US and in Canada. My identity has shifted a lot after meeting Your Holiness. For example, I am moving beyond those very patriotic values for one country and one religion, but consider the entire world my home and all human beings in the world my countrymen and women. And this nourished in me a very deep sense of compassion to my fellow brothers and sisters in the world, to their sufferings, and my responsibility to selflessly and humbly serve the entire world with love and kindness. And the impact it had on me is to develop resilience, inner peace, compassion, and a lifelong learning, in commitment to learning and unlearning. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Question garduwa. Question kimduwa. Thank you.
Your Holiness, we have an additional question, with your permission, that we would like to ask you. This is from Kamal Dilshan. Kamal, may we introduce you?
Your Holiness, thank you so much for taking out the time today and speaking to all of us. We've noticed in the recent past that removing women from democratic processes has had a more negative impact on gender balance and gender equality in particularly conflict-prone countries. So what would be your message to these local communities, that how should they ensure that more and more women are able to participate in democratic processes so that we can see more gender equality across all walks of life? Thank you.
There was some also a different view according to their own faith. Then you see these, it's difficult to criticize or change. But you see, think more wider perspective, then these are eventually can change. Otherwise, we, one individual, even one group of people, are difficult also to pursue these people. So, me, as a Buddhist monk who totally committed to promote religious harmony, sometimes it's difficult to frankly also express about some religious sort of tradition. So I think public education and media, time passes, these will, I feel, definitely will change. Okay.
Your Holiness, we have a very special colleague, Rachel DeBall. She comes from Nigeria, but she is not able to connect with us virtually tonight. But with your permission, I would like to share a final question with you that comes from Rachel. So Rachel says that after the 1995 Beijing conference that brought together women from all around the world, there was an improvement that we could all see in the inclusion of women and girls in many countries. You could see it, it was concrete. But Rachel says this progress appears to be stagnating now, particularly in the area of politics. So the promise and the progress that happened after Beijing, now it's going the wrong way. And what Rachel says, if you look at my own country, in Nigeria, women cannot rise above a certain level of leadership. And that's because, she says, there are stereotypes and there's resistance to women progressing. So Rachel's question, Your Holiness, is what is your advice to both women and men to change their attitudes and to make institutions more receptive and considerate towards gender equality?
So nowadays, some backward thinking, discrimination, male and female, these things, and also on the basis of color, and also basis on faith. So these are old thinking. Things definitely change. Now, important is education through information. I think that's the only way to public level to bring equal and even some obstacle from their national policy or their religious thinking. Eventually will change, definitely will change. The important is our effort should be continuously with reason, not through violence, with respect other who have different view, but respect and meantime our own view. We have to constantly make effort to change. Okay.
Your Holiness, you observed that women are more naturally compassionate than men. Do you think that it is possible for men to learn from women the arts of compassion and peacemaking?
개버츠 불명이 단지 겨울음식 공도 지 부모니 로니베 미두 간년양도 조지 다베 감바는 불명을 촌나 숙체 용해시도 송으로 디 this 참제다 근데 촌나 숙체 어디를 때니 저와디 뭐랑이 개버츠 불명이 때문에 근데 참제다 된저 로게 내야게 요르베스.
I think basically it is quite simple. Male need female. Female need male. It is through centuries. So now, I think due to certain political reason or religious reason, a little bit sort of discrimination, now these now through education and also the actual circumstances now really give us opportunity, equality, or male and female. So we have to make effort. Okay. Okay. Ka.
Logi 개버츠 불명이 때문에 로게 내야지 근데 저 잠재된 적도 로게 내야게 요르베스 이 공공이 났어.
Taki mdu shaske. Okay. Now next.
Your Holiness, we have a question that has come from one of our generation fellows. This is the question. People often argue with the notion of gender equality because they believe that it is not compatible with their culture or with their religion. What would you say to this?
Gharsa. Yes.
Could you repeat?
Please repeat question.
Many people say we don't agree with gender equality because it is not compatible with our culture or our religion. What would you say to that person who says that?
As I already mentioned, you see some tradition make distinction, male and female, including some religious tradition. So now these are, I think, as I mentioned earlier, as Buddhist, I already made some sort of contribution equal, as I already mentioned. So I think time passes, these will change. Meantime, we should make effort through media equality. That's my feeling. Okay.
Your Holiness, we want to deeply from our hearts, all of us, express our admiration for your wisdom and your guidance to us, and to thank you deeply for spending this past hour with us. Your Holiness, I started as a peace builder 40 years ago when I was their age. And I can truly say that I would have been much better at what I did if I had had the privilege of being in your presence as a young peace builder. They are so lucky. We are so lucky to have this chance to be with you. Thank you. We would like to take a moment and express our gratitude to the many people who have been with us tonight, to Nyachangkuoth, to Ashar, to Mithila, to Muborak, and to Gharsanay for asking their questions, and to Kamal and to Rachel, who also had the opportunity to ask their questions and engage with you and learn from you. We would like to give a very special thanks to the creator of this event, to Kalden Loda, and Radio Free Asia for our continued collaboration now for many years, and to all of your staff, Your Holiness, in your office, including Secretary Tenzin Talka, Tetse Samduk, and the technical team that's led by Don Eisenberg and Tenzin Checho. We'll be back with you, if you permit, tomorrow evening for the next session, the final part of this year's event. And we'll be focusing, as you have guided us tonight, we'll be focusing on education for both our heart and our mind. On behalf of all of us, thank you.
Thank you. See you again tomorrow. Okay. I think we will face same person's face, but I would like to have new ideas, new questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you again tomorrow. Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.